So we are going to see about streaming stored video in multimedia networking module 5. So in the previous video I have posted there are three applications of multimedia networking. One is streaming stored audio and video, and the second one is conversational audio and video, for which we have seen the examples as Skype, Google Meet, Zoom and all. And the last application is live streaming audio and the video. These are the three applications. In this video we are going to see the first application, that is streaming stored audio and video. Yes, so if you talk about the streaming stored audio and video, here the video is recorded and saved at the server, and whenever the client needs it, it can be transmitted by giving the request to the server, and the client will get the video through the network and decompresses, and after decompressing it is displayed into the client's application. So this is how the streaming stored video works. And if you take the streaming stored video, it can be done with the three types. The first one is, it works based on three types. The first one is UDP streaming, and the second one is HTTP streaming, and the third one is dynamic adaptive streaming called DASH. Yes, so if you take UDP streaming, first we will see what is streaming. Streaming is nothing but at this time client playing out early part of the video while the server still sending later part of the video. So the problem in this is the video consumption rate, the rate at which the client is seeing the video or watching the video should be, the rate of the watching video should be less than the video sending rate from the server. If that is fine, then there will be, it has to give as a video, to give the good quality of a video display, we should ensure two things. The challenges also we can say, like first one is continuous play out, second one is interactivity. What is interactivity? It is nothing but moving forward, backward, reverse and all, passing, all these options are there, then we can say that we have so good interactivity. So these are the challenges in providing the good quality of the video. So until and unless the consumption rate is lesser than the video sending rate, the continuous play out will be fine. And if at all the video consumption rate is high and the video sending rate at the server is less, then we cannot ensure this continuous play out. Yes, see, the continuous play out constraints. Once the client play out begins, playback must match original timing. Yes, but the network delays are variable. As we said, we cannot always ensure that always the network bandwidth will be same. At some time the bandwidth may be high, and at some other time the bandwidth may be less due to the traffic or congestion, it may be of any reason. So the network delays, since the network delays are variable, we'll need some client side buffer to match the playout requirements. See what happens, sometimes the bandwidth may be very high, after some time it will be zero, sometimes it is also possible. In that case, if the sending rate is 0 and the consumption rate is some 2 Mbps, then what will happen, we cannot see the video at all. So for this, to avoid this problem, to overcome this challenge, we need a buffer called client side buffer. So this is the buffer which is placed at the client. It helps us to store the videos which is transmitted from the server, and from the client side buffer it will be sent after decompression to the client application for the display. So whenever the bandwidth is high or less, the data will be stored in the video, and from the buffer, since it is going, they can have some continuous play out. The other challenges, as I said, are client interactivity, that is pass, fast forward, rewind, jump through video. All these should be there. All these options should be there for the client to move here and there in the video. Yes, video packets may be lost or retransmitted. Yes, if at all. See, we will assume that the first video block is sent at the time t1, and the next video block is sent at the t1 plus del, that is after 1 microsecond. Then the third video block should go at the 4th microsecond. So like this it should go. But what happens during the 3rd microsecond, the third block of data couldn't go to the client. So what happens, during the playout time, first block would have been watched by the client, and the second block would have been watched. Then it will be waiting for the third, but it has received fourth block. Means what will happen, either it should be passed, or the video should be passed, or that video content should be skipped. So these are the two options. So it can be either lost or retransmitted. Yes. Constant bitrate video transmission is not possible to have constant bitrate video transmission, but constant video consumption rate is possible. See, constant bitrate, we can see the content, we can see the video at the constant bitrate like 1.5 Mbps, but it is not possible to ensure or give the guarantee that always my bandwidth will be constant. So how can I say that my video sending rate will be, or video transmission rate will be constant? So it will be 100% varying based on the traffic congestion and the problems or the other problems in the network. Client-side buffering and the playout delay compensates for the network added delay, that is jitter. Yes. See, this is the server. This is server, and here we are seeing once the client gives the request to the server starts sending the video data, which is filled in the client buffer. The blue color is how much data has been filled in the client until the playout begins at time. So until the playout begins, the client side buffer will fill the content, video content in its buffer. Then playout begins at 5 o'clock, we'll assume. Okay, till 5 o'clock it will be buffering at the client application buffer. The buffer fill level varies over time as fill rate x of t. What happens once the consumption starts, then it will be emptied, the buffer will be emptied. So buffer fill level varies over time and the playout rate R is constant. But what happens, the consumption rate is constant, but the video transmission rate is differing. So what happens, we cannot say that whatever it receives, whatever the client absorbs, the same amount will be filled in the client side buffer, because as the bandwidth varies, the amount of data which is entering into the client buffer may also vary. So this is what happens at the client side application buffer. Yes. So if the average fill rate is less than the playout rate, then what will happen, as I said already, the sending rate, the video transmission rate is less than the playout rate, that is video consumption rate. What will happen, buffer eventually empties. If the consumption rate is higher than the transmission rate, then what will happen, the client will absorb all the data, but the sending rate is, since the sending rate is less, the client application buffer cannot fill the content with the speed of the video consumption. So automatically the client application buffer get empties and it starts freezing the video playout until the buffer again fills. So what will happen, the video will be freezed and we cannot have continuous play of. When this happens, when the consumption rate is higher than the transmission rate. What happens if the transmission rate is less than the transmission rate, video transmission rate, then obviously the buffer will not get emptied, and so the initial playout delay is large enough to absorb variability. So there will not be any freezing or delay. So as I said, we can go with the three types of strategies or types to give the streaming multimedia, providing the streaming stored multimedia. First one is UDP, with the help of the UDP. So as we said already, the server sends at the rate appropriate for client. Here also the same thing happens. The video will be recorded and stored in the server. When the client gives the request to the server, then the server will be sending. The only thing is, here, since UDP is used, here there is no need of handshaking. So once the client gives the request, the server will be sending the data. If the send rate is equal to encoding rate is equal to constant rate, the sending rate and the receiving rate is constant, then transmission rate can be obvious to congestion levels. So if it is same, if it's going to be constant, then there would not be any delay or jitter. But if it varies, then again problem. And one more thing, we have to see is once the packet is transmitted from the server to the client, the packet at the transport layer will be enclosed or encapsulated with the packet called RTP packet, that is real-time protocol, packet, and it will be sent through the network. So it uses the protocol called RTP protocol. And the second disadvantage of this is, it is going to UDP streaming is, it uses the special server called RTSP server for keeping track of the sessions and all. And the third problem in using UDP streaming is, some firewalls would have made the setting like it has to deny all the traffic if the protocol is of UDP. So if that firewall setting is like that, then the packets will be discarded, the video packets will be discarded at the firewall itself. So these are the three disadvantages of using UDP streaming. If you take the delay and the time taken to send the packet, the UDP is faster than the TCP streaming. So error recovery, yes, error recovery, the application level, time permitting. So if time permits, the error recovery can be done. That is the advantage of UDP streaming. So in the next video, we'll see how the TCP streaming is done. With this, I'm completing the session, ending the session. Thank you. Bye.